everyone. This is a reading for Aries. Look at how beautiful this card is and how beautiful she is. She actually looks like an Aries an Aries friend I have from a Facebook astrology group. Monica, I'm looking at you. But yes, very pretty Aries, and I love these cards because they you see that silver? They pick up the light and they're a lot of fun. My only beef, I will say, is that I don't think they're as nuanced as some of the other astrology oracle cards and all of that. While I shuffle, of course, I want you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But if anyone wants to complain about the shuffle, now is your opportunity to send loving, positive vibes my way and loving, positive vibes for the community, right? So let's tap into each other. Spirit, 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 please surround us with the warm, white, loving light of God and give us God given guidance for the highest good of all, for Aries and all those who love Aries. 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 One more. I feel it. I got a really dumb song stuck in my head. It's from the UK office, the British office. Hot love on the love freeway. The love is free, but the do-do-do. So sorry about that, Aries. Unless you like the British office and that song. Okay. So, you have the Three of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Three of Cups is girls just wanna have fun. So you might be having fun with your friends. This could talk about Halloween, right? Thanksgiving, but it's giggling, gossiping, girls' night out. But friends could be a really important aspect of your life right now. Anywho, so I drew these oracle cards and this card like a month ago. I was going to do this whole Venus retrograde thing, but it didn't pan out. Just didn't like have the energy to do it. But I saved them. I haven't looked at them yet, but they're like the lesson. I feel like with retrogrades, they're reviews for whatever planet they're aspecting, right? So whenever we have a Venus retrograde, this is a review in our love, a review in, whatever house that Venus hits. So it's kind of like a pop quiz type of thing. So let's see what we have learned during this time. Like whenever Mercury retrograde happens, it's calamity, technology craps out, and I always see that as an opportunity to review our systems, right? To review things we should have taken care of in the past. Like maybe I should defrag my computer. Maybe I should have a backup hard drive. Stuff like that. So what are we reviewing in love? What is on this pop quiz in Venus retrograde? Excuse me. We have the heart of the matter. So we see a loving figure, an angel from the heavens. She is hovering over Earth. We see a sleeping baby here. Aww, sleeping baby. So children could be important to you. We see a unicorn up here. We see a peacock, a tiger. So this is just like all of God's creations, right? And it says, there is more going on than meets the eye. Recognize what this is all about. So with Venus retrograde, Venus has been in Scorpio, right? And so we have had to review the deep-seated parts of ourselves, the very platonic parts of ourselves that are hard to face. This is like the shadow that we have to face. So there's more than meets the eye. We might have traditionally looked at our love life from a very surface level, right? But this Venus in retrograde is challenging us to look to the heart of the matter, to look deep within and see, to get to the bottom of things, right? As ugly as they may be, right? Because love can't be happy and pretty and, you know, fireworks and rainbows all the time. I wish it could be. But it's meant to transform, you know, with Scorpio, that Pluto energy, it's meant to transform us in ways that help us to be more loving, right? So any superficial issue that you had in the past, now you are getting to the heart of it. You're digging down to its roots. We also have it with unexpected visitors. Ooh, so some of you could have an ex coming back. Typical Venus retrograde. But this is a card of unexpected visitors. I see a little bunny rabbit here. Kind of reminds me of Alice in Wonderland, right? Like going through this door. And Alice went into a world that she didn't belong, and, you know, it was all for exploration. Anyway, so I feel like someone might be, an ex might be returning. You might also, I'm hearing, be challenged with new people, right? So maybe your ex isn't coming back, but like the same problem your ex had, they're just in a shinier package, right? Because we have the heart of the matter. So this is challenging you to look past the superficial, look past the surface level things, and if someone new is coming into your life, they may look like new and improved, not my ex at all, but I think they might have the same bullshit that your ex did. That's for some of you, but if you do have an ex coming back, if this is someone you do know, and it's not someone totally new, then perhaps they have dug deep within themselves and got to the heart of their ish, right? So they might be able to offer you a better partnership, but let's move along. Let's move along. We have the Emperor reverse. So this is you. The Emperor is an Aries. The Emperor is the divine masculine. He is in control, in charge. He is the master, the king of his empire. He loves his friends and his family, and he protects and provides for those he loves, right? So he is going to make sure that he has his coin, that he has his legacy, that he has his reputation, that he has his kingdom available for him and those he loves. And look, we have a world here. So this is like, I'm thinking of, you know, whenever Madonna was young, she was asked, what are your goals, or what do you want for yourself, or something, and it was some silly, like, American Bandstand or something, but she was like, I want to rule the world. So I feel like this is an energy of, wanting to rule the world, but not realizing all the responsibilities and all the obligations and all the crap that entails, right? Because we have the Emperor reverse. The Emperor reverse is someone who, he does not have control of his outer circumstances, like people bail on you, annoying little shits come back from the past, or annoying problems. Like, even if it's not a person, I feel like you're dealing with like bullshit you thought that you conquered, but it's not over with, right? So this is not being in control of your world, not being in control of your external forces around you. And so you become really controlling, really micromanaging, really bossy, and domineering and negatives in an effort to gain some sort of control, right? But what I'm being called to say is just don't take on as much. I know, like, you guys are the most energetic sign of the zodiac. You're the babies of the zodiac. So, of course, you have the most energy. And you have the most, like, footloose and fancy-free attitude. Like, you know, a YOLO attitude, right? And so it's like a lot of faith in the universe. Like, nothing can happen to you. But just make sure that you're not taking on too much, that it becomes like this world on your shoulders, right? And I think if you narrow down your passions, like what gives you that spark, then it's going to like you'll have more control over a smaller amount of things on your plate, right? So let's get into the tarot part of that. Of course, I want you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But first, a message from our sponsors. Okay, so we have the Page of Rods reversed, and we have the Ten of Cups. So the Page of Rods, it's funny, at the bottom of the deck we had the Three of Cups, and these are two of my Girls Just Want to Have Fun cards. The Page of Rods, this could be you. You could also be dealing with another Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius, but this is someone who, it's a kid who just wants to have fun, right? And so whenever he's reversed, this is a person who is not being challenged. This is a person who is not getting their way, like a little person. This could also be a child you're dealing with. A child who is not getting their way, they're not having fun, they're not being challenged. For some of you, I'm hearing like, oh my God, this is so boring. So whenever they aren't being challenged, whenever they aren't being, like for some of you, your kids might need a more hands-on approach to learning, a more active learning, right? Not just like reading from the book, taking a test, right? Something a little more lively and fun and interactive. But whenever this kid is not being challenged, it's a kid who's too smart for what is being given to him. So he acts out. It reminds me of, I was this latchkey kid, and my parents like left me to my own devices. They had to work, right? And I was an only child too, so I didn't have supervision. I was all to myself. And after school, I would do some ornery stuff. Like I set a picnic table on fire once. I spray painted the carport. Just like misbehaving. So this is a card of misbehaving, right? But it's a result of not being, like not using that energy. And again, we talked about all this energy here. Not using it for productive things. We have it crossed with the Ten of Cups. So, I feel like for some of you, maybe you are in this happily ever after energy, but you're being a little reckless about it, right? And it might be too much, like again, taking on the world when the world is a big responsibility, right? So just be careful about what you are taking on. But you do have like a happily ever after available to you. You do have like ultimate contentment, ultimate home and family life, you know, the grand gesture, the husband, wife, and kids, and all of that. So you have that available to you, but just make sure that perhaps I'm hearing for some of you, it's like too perfect. Like it's not challenging you, right? Because it's so perfect. It's so nice that you're not being challenged and you're acting out as a result. Let's see what's in your thoughts position. We have the Chariot. You could be dealing with a Cancer, but this is moving forward. This is victory. This is taking charge. A very Aries thing, right? Like I'm going to go in there. I'm going to make it happen. Lots of drive. So this is moving your Chariot forward. And like I said about the competing energies, this has two different horses. One is black, one is white, one is going this way, one is going that way. The Chariot, the driver of the Chariot, has to be in control, right? We talked about control here. So he has to be in total control to will these two horses into the direction he wants, right? He has to be focused, he has to be driven, he has to be mindful of competing energies, right? Competing ideas, competing directions. So he has to be focused on one aim and one aim alone, and he has to use this duality in his favor to drive him forward, to move him forward. In the past, we have the Five of Swords reversed. I'm glad the Five of Swords is reversed because this is a card about debate, about conflict, about people trying to one-up each other, and just being... it can go either way. It can go, I often kind of see it as just a competition of ideas, right? Like a debate. And I'm an air sign, so I can handle like the swords energies better than some other people can. But everyone disagrees sometimes, right? The Five of Swords is about sussing out your differences, right? Like saying like, I feel this way, and someone else saying, well, I don't feel that way, I feel this way. And so you have to meet in the middle, you have to make a compromise, you have to create win-win situations. So whenever it's reversed, this is falling out of conflict, this is like moving on to that Six of Swords energy where you're flying away from all that. So this is so weird because, you know, Aries is the sign of Mars, is the sign of, they're very competitive, very impulsive, no filter type of people. But I'm hearing for some of you, it's like you avoided fights that you really should have fought for, right? You wanted to be the bigger person. You didn't want to get into conflict with anyone. You didn't want to say anything that would hurt anyone's feelings. You didn't want to overreact about a situation, but as a result, you didn't quite get your needs met because you didn't address your needs, right? You might have let the other person talk over you when you should have spoken up for yourself. Again, I think that's pretty atypical of Aries, but let me know if that applies to you. Maybe you're just going through a atypical time in your life. But let's see what you built over time. Yeah, so one of the criticisms with Aries, and I have seen it in my personal life, is you guys are very prolific, right? You take on a lot of projects. You are able to create, and you just have an endless, like a bottomless passion for everything, right? Kind of like new and shiny syndrome for everything, right? But sometimes with that passion, with getting easily distracted with other things, your focus can turn away, right? Your horse can steer you off into a whole other direction you didn't expect. And so it ends up where you don't finish projects that you start. So perhaps with this conflict, like, I feel like maybe there was a situation where you could have finished something, you could have made it work, but it took you kind of like sussing out your differences and reaching a compromise that you didn't go with because you thought, well, screw this, I'm just going to go in another direction, right? And that could have been good or bad. But just be careful because it can create a reputation of not following through. It can create a reputation of not getting stuff done, right? Of things being incomplete. You know, like in the job, and I'm guilty of this myself, but a lot of people will say like, I don't care if you have an idea. There are plenty of ideas, people. It's putting those ideas into motion, right? So just be careful that you commit. This is about commitment, right? So committing to a passion and following through with it. That's for some Aries. That's not for all Aries. Let's see what is ahead of you. We have the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is about secrets. The High Priestess is about intuition. This is very mystical, very quiet energy. So again, we have this like not speaking up, right? This not getting into a conflict. This not saying anything. I want to see. You also could be dealing with a Pisces. But let me clarify. I want to see what this High Priestess is about. Again, you can take this opportunity during the shuffle to send good vibes to this community and to me. Everyone needs good love and vibes. Seven of Swords at the bottom, so there might have been some sneaky. Sometimes with the Seven of Swords, I say, you have the Ten of Cups again. Sometimes with the Seven of Swords, I say it's to avoid conflict because in the traditional decks, he is stealing 5 swords and leaving 2 behind. So it's like you try to sneak out of conflict. You try to go like the roundabout way out of conflict. Anywho, so yes, we have the 10 of Cups again, the 7 of Pentacles reversed, and the 10 of Wands reversed. So yeah, the 10 of Wands is a finish line card. You stopped before you got to the finish line. The 7 of Pentacles is a card about investment, so maybe you thought like there's nothing to gain here. And the 10 of Cups, I mean, maybe you did have to leave something behind that you weren't quite committed to gain a happier sense of being, right? Of well-being. Maybe committing to that was just not worth it. And that's okay, you know? Cool. Okay, so I'm going to do some shameless plugs. Of course, if you want a personal reading, I opened up an Etsy page. Seemed like that was the best way to do personal readings because eventually I want to do some material overhead. Stay tuned for that. But yes, check out my Etsy page for personal readings. I also just opened up a Patreon page. So on my Patreon page, you'll get this extended reading, right? I might go the Vimeo route after the year, but I want to start with Patreon. So check out my Patreon page and you can get the rest of this reading. And it would really help me out a lot. And you'll also get mid-month readings if you choose the $5 option. But for the $2 option, you'll get all of these extended readings for free. Thank you very much, Aries. I will see you next month. Bye.